Wait, this just happened. Southeast Asia is grappling with a devastating natural disaster. Torrential rains, fueled by a series of powerful cyclones, have unleashed catastrophic flooding and landslides across Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia. The scale of destruction is immense, leaving communities shattered and rescue efforts stretched to their limits. We're diving deep into the heart of this crisis, uncovering the sequence of events, the underlying causes, the staggering human cost, and the long road to recovery. This is the story of a region brought to its knees and the resilience of its people in the face of unimaginable loss. As the monsoon season intensified, fueled by Cyclone Ditwah, Sri Lanka found itself in the crosshairs. The downpour, relentless and unforgiving, overwhelmed the island nation, triggering massive floods and deadly mudslides. The capital, Colombo, was submerged, its streets transformed into raging rivers. Entire villages vanished beneath the mud, leaving behind a trail of devastation and despair. The initial reports painted a grim picture, but the true extent of the disaster was only beginning to unfold as rescue workers struggled to reach isolated communities. This led to a rapid escalation of the crisis. The Disaster Management Center in Sri Lanka reported a staggering loss of life, with the death toll climbing rapidly as more bodies were recovered from the debris. Hundreds remained missing, their fate unknown. Over 78,000 people were forced to flee their homes, seeking refuge in temporary shelters, their lives upended by the relentless forces of nature. The government declared a state of emergency, mobilizing the military to assist in rescue and relief efforts. The scale of the disaster was overwhelming, pushing the country's resources to the breaking point. You won't believe this. While Sri Lanka was battling its own crisis, Indonesia was facing an even more catastrophic situation. The island of Sumatra was pummeled by torrential rains linked to Cyclone Senyar, triggering widespread flooding and landslides. Entire communities were swept away, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable destruction. The death toll soared, reaching into the hundreds, with hundreds more missing and feared dead. Rescue workers faced immense challenges in reaching isolated villages, hampered by damaged roads and collapsed bridges. The situation in Sumatra was further compounded by reports of looting. Desperate for food and water, some residents resorted to stealing from shops, highlighting the dire conditions and the breakdown of order in the worst affected areas. The Indonesian government deployed troops to assist with rescue and relief efforts, but the scale of the disaster was overwhelming. President Prabowo Subianto visited North Sumatra, promising government assistance and vowing to prioritize the needs of the affected communities. The challenge was immense, with entire regions cut off from aid and survivors struggling to cope with the loss of their homes and loved ones. Breaking right now, the disaster extended beyond Sri Lanka and Indonesia. Southern Thailand and northern Malaysia were also hit hard by the same weather systems, experiencing severe flooding and landslides. The death toll in Thailand climbed rapidly, reaching into the hundreds as entire villages were submerged. The Thai government faced mounting criticism for its handling of the crisis, with accusations of inadequate warnings and slow response times. The floods disrupted transportation networks, crippled local economies, and left thousands stranded without access to basic necessities. The regional impact was becoming increasingly clear, highlighting the interconnectedness of these nations and their vulnerability to extreme weather events. As the floodwaters began to recede in some areas, the long and arduous task of recovery began. The damage was extensive, with homes, businesses, and infrastructure destroyed. The psychological toll on survivors was immense, with many traumatized by the loss of loved ones and the destruction of their communities. The focus shifted to providing clean water, food, and medical assistance to those in need. International aid organizations mobilized to provide support, but the challenges were daunting. The rebuilding process would take years, requiring significant investment and a concerted effort from governments, communities, and international partners. This is huge. The underlying causes of this devastating disaster are complex and multifaceted. Climate change is believed to have played a significant role, exacerbating the intensity and frequency of extreme weather events. Deforestation and unsustainable land use practices have also contributed to the problem, increasing the risk of landslides and flooding. Poor infrastructure and inadequate disaster preparedness measures have further compounded the impact of the crisis. Addressing these underlying causes is crucial to preventing future disasters and building more resilient communities. This requires a holistic approach, encompassing climate action, sustainable development, and improved disaster risk management. The long-term implications of this disaster are far-reaching. The economic impact will be significant, with agriculture, tourism, and other key sectors suffering major losses. The social fabric of affected communities has been torn apart, with families displaced and livelihoods destroyed. The psychological scars will linger for years to come. The disaster has also highlighted the need for greater regional cooperation in disaster preparedness and response. Sharing information, coordinating resources, and working together to build resilience are essential to protecting these vulnerable nations from future threats. This tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the power of nature and the urgent need to address the challenges of climate change and sustainable development. In summary, the floods and landslides that have ravaged Southeast Asia represent a catastrophic humanitarian crisis. The immediate needs are to provide assistance to survivors, rebuild damaged infrastructure, and address the underlying causes of the disaster. The long-term challenge is to build more resilient communities and mitigate the risks of future extreme weather events. This requires a concerted effort from governments, international organizations, and individuals. The road to recovery will be long and difficult, but with determination and compassion, these nations can rebuild their lives and create a more sustainable future. Consider donating to reputable organizations providing aid to the affected regions. Every contribution, no matter how small, can make a difference in the lives of those who have lost everything.